And that brings us to our next story, which is Clifton Powell. I'm not sure if you guys seen that clip. And I know, and when I say you guys, I mean you guys out there watching us, but we've seen the clip. And it was amazing to watch this young man come at Clifton Powell, because Clifton Powell stated that he did not learn how to love until he was 69 years old. Yes, 69, not the position, the age. And this is a problem. Oh, wait,
Disclaimer.
let me not jump ahead. Let me not jump ahead. And so,
How to love.
so exactly. So my question to you, at what age, okay, there's multiple questions. So let's break down to the first one. At what age do you actually take responsibility for childhood trauma? Because that was something that came out in regards to how he was raised, right? So where's the accountability here? Or do you feel like this was more of a generational issue where this young man couldn't understand where this older gentleman was coming from, because they're coming across two different generations? I think he's a boomer, damn near silent generation. No, I'm just kidding, but boomer. And the other guy, I believe, was like Gen Z. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really explosive. I thought the young guy, he should have had more grace for him, because I did, because Clifton Powell reminds me of my dad. He's thinking from my dad's generation, the guy the younger cat, he's looking at it like, oh, I've got all of it. He's like emotionally available. He shares his feelings. He's open up, and that's one of the things that's been inculcated in society, like men like feeling more and being more emotionally expressive and open. Clifton Powell, his generation, he didn't come from that, right? So it's entirely possible and likely that, you know what, this is really when I'm learning how to love and really open up and be vulnerable. And that's okay. I gotta give my old school guy grace. I think, coming at your elders like that is some real out of pocket shit, but that's me, because I'm in an unk status now. So I don't want the YNs coming for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just right behind Clifton Powell. But for me, it's a generational thing. They didn't have all of this therapy speak and this therapy language that we have now, and everybody's a pseudo online therapist, and they have all of this, ways to express themselves. They didn't have that kind of stuff, man. He just kept a lot of stuff bottled in, a lot of men from his generation, and he just ate it. He wore it on his sleeve. He may go to the pool hall, may go have a beer or something to go fishing, and whatever trouble you had in life, you just dealt with it. So it's a generational thing, but young cat was out of pocket. Very, very, very estrogen riddled young cat there.
So I agree. I agree, but I just want to say that like the way that I saw it is just kind of like, in the same breath that he said, that we are responsible for our own lives and our own choices and decisions, he also said like, oh, well, my parents were the, children of slaves. And, so it's like, which one is it? Like, are you going to be accountable for yourself and your decisions? Or are you going to blame the fact that you feel like you didn't know how to love on the fact that, your parents were children of slaves, or, whatever the case may be? So it's like, for me, when you get to a point in your life where you, regardless of if it's therapy or whether it's just like looking down the street, because it's like, I know that there are things that happen in my household that I thought were normal. And then you look at someone else's family and you're like, I like that a little bit better. I think that I'm going to go with that. I think, when I go into my relationship and my livelihood and whatever. So it's like, not to say that you can be 69 years old and now today is the first day that you realize, that you realize love. It's like you had a lot of time throughout those years to see what right looked like and to model your relationships on what right looks like, because it's like, if you feel like damage, when I'm in a relationship and things aren't going well, and I see things that were going on for myself, speaking from my own experience, I was like, I'm the common denominator. So I really had to look at myself as the common denominator and take accountability for like what I wanted in my relationship. So yeah, to be 69 years old, yes, the young gentleman was wrong in like not respecting Clifton Powell's truth, but at the same token, it's like, how long are we going to make excuses and then in the same breath say that, oh well, I know it's on me, but look at what my parents brought to the table.
Can I ask you a quick question, Q? Because you said, how long are we going to make excuses? Like, who exactly are you pointing that question to? Or a better question, let me just take it off of you. who do you think that young man was pointing that question to? Like,
The
I'm
individual.
asking. So you're saying that because that young man doesn't know Clifton Powell, right? Right before then. So is he asking for accountability from Clifton Powell at 69 having this conversation? Because I was trying to understand, like, when you say, we're tired of hearing like who's that pointed towards
Oh, I love that.
specifically, or is it
I love.
just a broad?
Yeah, no, I love that question because people will always come to me like, well, they said, and I'm like, well, who's they? Like give me a name because I'm
Right.
going to call them on the phone. So it's like, I love that question. And so when I say, how long are we going to make excuses? I'm talking about we as in ourselves, us as individuals. Like when we come across something. So for example, if I'm dealing with someone and they're like, oh, I have no time at all. Like, for mental health, you can wake up 5 minutes earlier. You can wake up 10 minutes earlier. So it's like we make excuses. And when I say, I'm talking about individual accountability for whatever. So it's like, I'm not saying, men or women or any type of race. I'm talking about individual accountability. So when I say we or they, I'm talking about that person, if that
Okay,
makes
I
sense.
want to come back to that. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
got you. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. Somebody else want to get that. I want to let y'all have a chance at it because go ahead to unpack this. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I know I said in the off-season conversation I would not be as diplomatic in this new season.
You did
But I'm
say
going to be a
that.
little diplomatic at first, right? Of course, we all agree that the young boy was just completely disrespectful. But
Do we?
I want to hear what Clifton had to say, right? Because Clifton was saying, look, nobody taught me how to love, right? He was like, I didn't figure this out till not very long ago. And I think that while people are quick to chalk him over into, grow up, you know what I'm saying, put your grown man pants on or whatever, I think what we're missing is the fact that, like for even Q was like, well, you had all these years to figure it out. And I'm asking, where were the examples really? Because there is no perfect relationship, right? And so really, even beyond there not being a perfect relationship, where were the examples that he could model to learn love as a black man in Hollywood, no less, right? So I think he deserves some grace for that. You know what I mean? I think he was trying to share a
We're
truth.
showing a lot of grace.
Well, I mean, because I think he has a legitimate story, right? Because as a guy who grew up without his dad, I had to learn women on my own, right? I had to learn to figure them out all by myself. Nobody schooled me. My mom didn't school me. I didn't have no sisters, and my brothers gave me just a little bit of game, right? So learning how to be a man, learning how to love or whatever as a man or show up in a relationship in a certain way, these are things I had to teach myself or learn from my peer group. He was saying his peer group was lacking. It took him a while to teach himself. So I'm going to respect his vulnerability, okay? But I am going to agree with everyone, anyone who says that trauma had to stop being your backstory, right? It's got to become something that we go, yeah, that happened to me, but look how I built on it, right? I didn't have a father. It explains a wound. It explains some of what has happened to me and how I processed, maybe while some women thought I was a fuckboy in college, and I probably was. It doesn't excuse the bleeding, right? Not having a father, that's the wound. But if you're still bleeding 50 years later, that's a you thing, right? Somebody asked, when do you heal? You start the work of healing and addressing these things once they come to your attention. Because that's what the young men are saying. The young men in the video are saying, hey, y'all need to heal. And what the older generation was saying was, you need to understand that I really don't know how, or I'm still trying to figure it out. So I think both people have points. But if you're 60, okay, and you still talking about what your mama or your daddy did that messed your life up, no ma'am, no sir. That's all you right now. By 40, you should have just sewn it into your experience and worked that out. I mean, 40, I'm still asking him, I think you asked what age? 40, or definitely by 60, because healing is optional at 20. You haven't gone through a lot, but it's mandatory at 60.